you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to The Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. I'm Sarantos, your humble host and a fellow songwriter with a passion for crafting stories through music. As someone who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember, I know how every song holds its own unique story. That's what brings us here every single Tuesday evening to celebrate the voices behind the music we all know and love. Tonight, I'm so excited to have on the show JT Harding. He's a multi-platinum songwriter for Blake Shelton, Keith Urban, Kenny Chesney, and a bunch of others. And his songs have received more than 1 billion streams, which is a lot. He was born and raised in South Detroit, and he spent countless hours of watching MTV, and that inspired him to put together bands in school, which eventually led him to LA to pursue his dream in the music business.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, JT. How are you?
Woo! If you're in your car, honk your horn. If you're on your porch, flash your lights. And if you're still in bed, dance on your back. We're about to have a blast on the Songwriter Podcast. What's happening?
Not much, man. So you got a cool story. I love this project that you're involved in. Tell us a little bit about you and tell us about this thing you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. Like most kids, I grew up, I was always into listening to the radio. And then I started writing songs when I became obsessed with my favorite babysitter. Her name was MTV. And when MTV, beamed into our living room in Michigan, the videos, it was wonder after wonder. I wanted to crawl inside the TV. It was all real to me. I still feel like it's real when I see the old videos. I wanted to be next to Eddie Van Halen when he did a touchdown dance with his fingers on the guitar. I wanted to be there when Motley Crue were pulling people over the barricade.
Yeah.
Madonna singing Like a Virgin in a wedding dress. I thought I was gay for 3 minutes the first time I saw a Duran Duran video, but that's another story. So I said, we got to put a band together.
Oh, that's awesome.
I put bands together and I started looking on the back of my CDs and I said, man, all the record companies are in New York and California. And I thought, well, I'd rather have a broken air conditioner than a broken heater in the winter. So I moved out to California and I just started writing songs. And it kind of led me here. I wrote a bunch of hits for country artists and someone put them all together for a really edgy musical called Music City. And I'm here at rehearsals in New York. And that's where I'm coming to you from. Woo!
All right, man. Tell us about this project that you guys are working on. Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, great. So I've been very fortunate. I moved out to LA, and I loved hard rock, but I can't play guitar like Rat. And I wasn't really as angry as the grunge people, although those songs were great. So I just tried to write simple songs and people said, man, your songs are like 3D movies. You should go to Nashville. I went from hair metal to pedal steel, I like to say. So I've written songs that have gone #1 with Darius Rucker, Keith Urban, Blake Shelton, Kenny Chesney, Dierks Bentley. And I've written songs for Jonas Brothers and Goo Goo Dolls. And a guy named Peter Zinn, who's a playwright, heard some of the songs and he said, man, I have to write a show about Nashville. And he put all the songs into the show. And it's called Music City. And it's about, Peter has taken the spotlight off the superstars and shined it on to people living in East Nashville. They're washing dishes, they're bartenders, they're all trying to make it as songwriters. So the show has all of those hits in it. And it's called Music City, which is what people call Nashville, like Chicago is the Windy City. I know you know that.
Sure.
And we've done over 100 shows, though, and it's moving to a bigger space on 42nd, walking distance from any hotel in Times Square. And when you walk into it, it's totally immersive. That's a big word. I usually stick to big words I know, like gymnasium. But the director made it immersive. So when you walk in, you'll feel like you're in a honky tonk. There's old neon lights. There's working bars. You sit at tables. And the cast is the band. The cast sings all the songs. They also act it all out. It's an unexpected thrill to be here watching it all come about. And once again, it's called Music City, the musical, and tickets are on sale to all the songwriters out there. And I know I'm talking a lot, but this is the last thing I'll say right now. There's a real open mic night every single show Anyone in the audience can get on stage and sing an original or a cover song. We have the guitar, the piano. You can plug your phone in as long as you're singing. And yeah, it's great. You can get on stage in a giant theater space in New York City to a packed house. It was the director's idea, and I think it's fabulous. And
That's a great idea.
people love to do the open mic night, and then the show starts, and the audience doesn't know if it's still the open mic night. So I don't want to give too many spoilers, but anyway, I better take a breath. Thank you.
No problem, man. That definitely sounds cool. Tell us about your songwriting process. How do you typically do it? Do you work with an instrument? Do you hum a melody, drum groove? How do you get started?
Man, what a great question. I think every song I've written has kind of come about in a different way. But I get, in Nashville, a lot of people may know we save a lot of song titles in our phones. I'll overhear someone going through a breakup, or maybe I get a line from a movie, or also just whatever I'm feeling. And I love coming up with titles, but it isn't always like that. I wrote a song called Smile. You make me smile like the sun, fall out of bed. Uncle Cracker is the guy I wrote it with. He had the title.
That's a great song. I love that song, dude. You wrote that
Oh,
song?
yes. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's
So
awesome, man.
Uncle Cracker had the title, but that's all we
Yeah.
had. So we came up with it like that. I wrote a song called Different for Girls that Dierks Bentley recorded with Elle King. But that had the Food Channel on late at night, and my Perrier bottles were, fighting for space with my, potato chip cans and all that stuff. And I started strumming the 4 chords, and I started coming up with the lyrics, and then I came up with the title. So that one was a little different. So they're always kind of different, but I think mostly I do start with a title. It's not a rule I have. I just am always inspired. Like, I'm in New York right now, as I said, and I was out and like a bus went by, and there was this cool phrase on the side of the bus. I'm not going to tell all you songwriters listening, because I know you're going to write it better than me. But I said, that's a song title. I got to put it in my phone. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of how I do it, just when inspiration strikes. But I will tell you something that I've learned when I got to Nashville. Songwriting is a full contact sport. I used to think you could sit in your parents' basement, write a couple songs, and one day you'd be famous. But I got to Nashville, every girl and boy and everybody in between that was having success 5, 6 days a week, they're writing songs 2 times a day. Everyone there is writing a lot of songs. And I thought, wow, I'm going to have to really get in there and dig in. And I've written thousands of songs, and maybe 10 of them are known, but that's what it takes.
Yeah, for sure. So, along that line, what advice would you give a beginner?
Write as much as you can. It's like a muscle. Write all the time. If you're trying to be an artist, sing anywhere you can, whether it's for 5 people at a birthday party or a club. Do people even do that anymore? Or also, beginners, you have the world at your fingertips on the phone. So I would say, I guess, post songs to see if people respond to them. But I would just say, write a lot. I also personally have never had success trying to chase something that's already popular on the radio. I wrote a song called Somewhere with You that Kenny Chesney recorded, and nobody wanted it. It was passed around more than a vape pen at a Willie Nelson concert. No one wanted it. But Kenny Chesney heard it. I don't know Kenny Chesney, but he was pitched the song, and he said, "This is so different. I'm going to put this out." If I had written a song about a beach or a cowboy hat or a tractor, he never would have heard it. And if he did hear it, he wouldn't have liked it. So I would just say, write a song that means something to yourself, and you'll be surprised at how other people react to it.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think people sometimes get stuck chasing trends, and by the time they start chasing it, it's already long gone. So I think that's so true.
Yeah, that is very true. And these are really great questions. Thank you. Also, if you're like going to Nashville, if you're not an artist, let's say, and you're trying to be a songwriter in LA or Los Angeles or England or wherever, I know there's like 3,000 countries or something that listen to this show. I did this as well. Everyone does this. They come to Nashville and they say, if I can meet a hit songwriter and get in the room with them, I'll have a hit song too. But I've never seen that happen. You find people at your own level, and then you all rise up together. And there's such a power that like newer writers have, because they're listening to music that I don't even know about, and that influences them. Shane McAnally is one of the biggest songwriters in the history of Nashville. But when I met him, neither of I had anything going on. And we wrote Somewhere with You, then Alone with You, and then Different for Girls, our first three number ones. And then he introduced me to Josh Osborne and Trevor Rosen. And then Trevor put Old Dominion together. But none of us had anything going on. We kind of found this tribe and rose up together.
Yeah, I think that's how it works, right? I mean, I was reading like Tina Fey, Me Polar, and I think what you said is spot on, where people sometimes just go for the big fish, but you don't know who you're next to. And I think rising up together is a great story.
Yes, and listen, I'm not immune to it. I'm trying to think off the top of my I'm trying to think off I don't know Ryan Tedder. Let's say he's a great big songwriter, but of course, if I saw him, I'd say, oh, if I could write with that guy, I'd
Yeah.
probably have a hit with Miley Cyrus. So I'm not immune to it. But when you ask me for advice, that's another really big piece of advice. And I'm not just talking to talk. The country artist Ella Langley, who became really big, I believe she wrote her first album with only people that she knew. I mean, I've never written with her, and she just had this kind of small little crew of people that she wrote with. But she could have just written with all the biggest writers in Nashville. So hats off to her.
Is there like a typical mistake that you see people make over and over that are trying to pursue this career?
Man, that's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. Not that I can think of, but I think you really have to just get in 100%, 9 days a week, 27 hours a day. Like I spoke at a songwriter convention. I loved the smell of ambition in the morning, and I loved not a convention, a songwriter expo. And someone stood up and they said, "Hey, what should I do?" And I said, "Well, you should move to Nashville," because the guy wanted to write country. And he said, "Oh, well, my girlfriend, won't let me." Now, this is nothing against his girlfriend. I said to the guy, he asked me for more advice. I said, "Bro, I moved to LA when I was 17 with $200, and I left a beautiful community in Michigan. There wasn't a girlfriend, a parent, a buddy. No one would have stopped me, and I got lucky to make it. There's thousands of people. So I think you have to really, if there's something else you want to do in the world, you should go do that, because my heart's been broken by the music business more than the ice cream machine at McDonald's has been broken up the street. So you really have to be in it to win it. And, so people are like, well, I can't write songs in the day because I have to work. Okay, get a night job so your days are available. I worked at a record store for years. I always worked at night so I could write in the day. And these are things I've learned. I didn't know this right when I, jumped out of bed at noon in LA. I had to learn all this.
Sure. If you could re-record any song on the planet that's ever existed, what song would be number one on your list?
Wait, did you say re-record or I wish I wrote it?
No, re-record. And then you could tell us the one that you wish you wrote too. We'll do that. We'll do both.
Re-record. Most of my favorite songs are recorded pretty well. Man, that's a great question. Okay, I would do Take on Me by Aha, but I would do it on an acoustic guitar. I love when people do cover songs, but they're totally
Yeah.
And I can't really play a lot of cover songs. I don't know the chords and the notes to my songs. I just kind of strum around. But I would probably do that. Put out an acoustic version of Take on Me.
I love that. So I'm an 80s child. When that song came out on MTV with the video, that was such a classic, iconic song and video.
Oh, it goes right back to what I was talking about MTV. You're exactly right. And I'm not surprised that my friends' kids all love Take on Me. They don't even know where they heard it. They're just all dancing around singing it like the Charlie Brown Peanuts gang because it's timeless.
Yeah. One of the things I like to ask a lot of songwriters is about scams and being ripped off in this industry. So if you have any advice on either something you fell for or what people should not fall for, just so we can all protect each other.
Yeah, so it's funny. I thought you said like scatting, like going hibba-dabba-dabba-da-bop-bop like a jazz guy. So you said SCAMS, right?
Yeah, scams, yeah.
And I'm in New York, man. That sounds like a good band name, the Scams, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you pay them first, and then you don't show up.
And then yeah. Well, it's better than gigging for free, right? The other scam that,
Yeah, that's true. We've been scammed a lot. So listen, I've been very lucky. I've never had someone say I stole their song or anything. And I'm going to kind of go roundabout as I think about this. I just can't believe there aren't more lawsuits because everyone writes a song and puts it right up on TikTok, I'm in all these rooms in Nashville. I'm like, man, someone's going to hear that title, you know? But I would say the scams I just think if someone, okay, I'm going to be totally honest with you. If someone says, hey, pay me a couple $1,000 and I'll help you write a song, I don't really, and I don't know if you do that. I'm just being honest. I'm a little weary of that. I feel like I've seen that a little bit through the years, or someone will say to me, hey, we paid this guy $4,000 to write a song with us. Could we pay you to write a song with us? And I'm just like, I don't take money to write songs like that. I like I told you, I have my tribe. So I would be a little wary of that. And I think, yeah, I would be a little wary of that. I really can't think of anything else. I mean, I'm sure there's scams how to get more Spotify listeners and all that, but I haven't really, dove into that. I don't really know how all that works.
Yeah, okay. Last two questions. Tell us about where people can find you or the musical online, where they can buy your stuff, stream it, or anything you've done. And then when is it coming to Chicago? Because it doesn't sound like it's in Chicago yet.
No, it's just getting up and going. Thank you so much. Well, most of my songs, and it sounds like I'm bragging, I don't mean it like that. The songs I've written are recorded by other people. So if you hear a song that I've written, the artist, I don't have the songs online. Like Darius Rucker sings Beers and Sunshine. Blake Shelton sings Sangria. The Jonas Brothers. So my songs are recorded by other people, so you'll just have to find them. Smile, Uncle Cracker. But if you want to send a note, you know what I like to do? I'll give you my Instagram, and I have a book out, a memoir called Party Like a Rock Star, by the way, that I talk about my crazy journey, how I did it, all the twists and turns, and I put every single hit I've had. I tell you exactly how I wrote the song, how I made the title stand out, what lyrics I tried to make pop. So I ask in the book, write me if you can think of a rhyme for Volkswagen. So online, it's really
What's your
easy.
handle? What's your Instagram handle?
At JTX Rockstar. All the cool names were taken. So yeah, that's how you can find me. And no, the musical has to get up on its legs here in New York City. That's really all I know. But it was in a small theater above a church it kept getting extended, a word that I've learned, and now they're moving it right outside of Times Square on 42nd Street. It's called Music City, the musical. And if you look it up, they're doing all sorts of deals. I just saw a thing that said if you show up 20 minutes beforehand, the ticket's only $20. Now, I don't know if you get a good seat, but that's a pretty good price for something since it's just starting out.
Yeah, that's cool, man. No, I'm definitely going to keep that in mind. If I head over to New York, I'm definitely going to try to catch that. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, the snow's going to melt. I mean, this city is alive. Yeah. So, and what do I call you? I call you Sam?
Sam Sarantos, my stage name. Whatever you want, man.
It's Sarantos, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just saw on the thing Sarantos, and I saw your picture. Well,
No
listen,
worries, man.
I really appreciate what you're doing for songwriters, and I don't know if this is the end, but let me just say to everyone out there, the world cannot, there isn't a country or rock star. There's not a radio station. There's certainly no Spotify or Apple without songwriters. So if you're out there, listen, a song that you write to the listeners is going to be the soundtrack to Butterflies of a Million Kisses. It's going to be in a movie. It's going to be a song that a sports team busts through the paper on a football field. And the world is always going to need a new song, and someone is going to write it. So it might as well be you, the listener. So fight the good fight and trust your instincts. And I can't wait to hear all of you blasting out of a radio in a taxi cab one of these days.
That's awesome, JT. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much, and I'll see everybody soon.
You're welcome, man. To all the listeners out there, thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time with the two of us tonight. We hope your unique story gets heard around the world, too. My name is Sarantos. Thank you for joining us on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night. I love you all. I'll see you next Tuesday night.
Help me, please shelter me. As a child, I was so young and free. I felt so confident as you carried me. You held me so close and always believed. You instilled in me a sense of purpose and destiny. The world is black and white as seen through the eyes of a child. Innocence so pure it lasted for a while. I miss the day, the calm you let me feel. You always believed in me and made everything so real. I miss being a child. I miss feeling a bit wild. No care in the world for me. A child's mind open for all to see. A child's mind is so young and free. A child will always believe. A child's mind must belong to you and me. The years have passed on, many days have come and gone. My intentions once good, my actions now sometimes wrong. Once wide-eyed and full of spunk, now so negative and always drunk. Lost looking in the rain for that childlike innocence again. I miss being a child. I miss feeling a bit wild. No care in the world for me. A child's mind open for all to see. A child's mind is so young and free. A child will always believe. A child's mind must belong to you and me. Child, I miss feeling a bit wild. No care in the world for me. A child's mind open for all to see. A child's mind is so young and free. A child will always believe. A child's mind must belong to you and me. A child doesn't know how to lie. It used to be mine.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.